caution. Your paradigm is about to shift at the intersection of fact and reason. You're entering Kingston Country.
I'm Dan Kingston, and you're listening to the Dan Kingston Podcast. Can I ask you a huge favor? Can you give this podcast a rating on iTunes if you enjoy the content? Tell a friend, tell a family member, spread the word. If you're at a library, punch in the Dan Kingston Podcast in the web browser and just leave it up there. Or if you're at a friend's house, punch it into their laptop computer before you leave their apartment. Whatever you can do, I'm looking for the things that rock the boat, that get people in trouble. That's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the things everybody else talks about. That's boring to me. So when Donald Trump has Dershowitz on his legal team, I'm sitting there scratching my head saying, that does not make sense to me. Maybe it makes sense to you. People have explained that he's a constitutional lawyer, so he's the perfect person, given he's a Democrat and believes in the Constitution, that we should trust him and that he's ideal for this moment in time to play this role. Okay, but the thing is that Dershowitz defended O.J. Simpson. He's defended Epstein. So now he's defending Trump. At the very least, you have to concede that just from a purely optics basis, it's horrible. Why are you adding the credibility to the impeachment by having a criminal defense attorney like Dershowitz on your team? Well, the first thing that comes to my mind with Dershowitz is Epstein. Not just because he defended Epstein, but because there's accusations against Dershowitz. Now, of course, guilt by accusation. I'm aware of the book by Dershowitz. These are allegations. Nothing's been proven. And many powerful people do get accused, given our Me Too era, and even before the Me Too era, that was a big problem. But I would just say that Dershowitz looks like a creep. I mean, don't judge a book by its cover, but too late. You can't help it because the entire thing is all about optics. It's all on TV, and the president gets that better than anyone else. So why would you do this? Why was it allowed? Who's advising the president that Dershowitz is a great guy to have on your behalf? And in what world where QAnon and Q is close to the president or an advisor to the president, or in fact could be the president himself, in what world would Dershowitz become the criminal defense attorney to Trump when Q's in charge? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. Trump is playing a practical joke, which was one person's comment on my Twitter feed. They said that he has a great sense of humor, that Trump does. I mean, yeah, I guess so. That's as good of an explanation as any as to why you would put your trust in Alan Dershowitz or just have him anywhere near you. Now, I could be completely off base on this, and maybe Dershowitz will do great for the president. But I would look closely at the damage done, because already the talking points are, he defended O.J. Simpson, he defended Epstein, he's connected to Epstein, and now he's defending Trump. So the guilt by association thing is real. I mean, if you want to call it guilt by accusation or guilt by association, whatever, whether it's fair or not, it's real. And as you know, one of my favorite lines and phrases and beliefs is that we have to live in the reality that we're faced with, not the reality we wish it to be. I know I repeat things, I'm aware of it, but I want to get it through and make it a central theme of the podcast. Certain ideas need to really get drilled in there so that there can be a central motif tying together the theme of the show, which is what? Pragmatism, rejection of ideology, practical, common sense solutions to everyday problems, making sense out of a very complicated world, without taking shortcuts, not shying away from the big ideas, from the scary conspiracy theories. Okay, some conspiracy theories turn out to be very real. My new producer, Omar, who's volunteering his time because he believes in the Dan Kingston podcast, he believes in this message, pointed out that the Jesse Smollett conspiracy was that way for a long time before they realized, of course, it wasn't a conspiracy at all. It was all one giant hoax. Hi, thanks for calling the Dan Kingston podcast. Can I have your name and the city you're calling from?
Hey, what's up, Dan? You can call me High Top, and I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi, Top. Thanks for calling. What would you like to talk about today?
I kind of want to talk about Trump and how he's kind of fallen down on the wall. I mean, I think even Trump himself admitted it. I don't know if you saw his last rally, but he kind of made a joke about it. He was like, if I'd have known it would have been this hard to get the wall built, I would have just immediately done it. During my first year in office, you know, what I should have done was I should have told them we didn't want the wall, then they would have given to it. And so I'm just like, okay, Trump, we should have all this happening. We should have had it from the very beginning.
You're for the wall. You believe in the wall.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm 100% wall.
And do you think that's a liability that he has because it's not 100% built by the time 2020 comes around? That could hurt him?
Well, not only is it not 100% built, it's not 50%, it's not 25%, it's not even 10%. You know, it's pretty pitiful, the progress that's been made so far.
Look, why is a wall so important? I mean, if you had to explain it, let's say, to a libtard who says anybody that wants to build a wall is racist, how do you get it through their heads that actually this is the opposite of racist, that it's protecting our own citizens?
Well, first off, I'm black, so that doesn't really work when people try to call it racist for me. But I know why people have a problem defending the wall because they just try to call people racist. I just say, honestly, when they do that, that just means they have no argument. Because at the end of the day, everybody knows that illegal immigration is bad. There are people who pretend that it's good, but basically everyone with a brain knows it's bad. And you kind of just have to separate the adults from the children in the conversation and kind of call out the bad actors, call out the people who are making disingenuous arguments, and just get down to brass tacks.
I mean, the thing is that it's easy, I feel like, for a lot of people to say, oh, it's so racist building a wall. They never deal with the consequences of illegal immigration sitting up there high behind their fences or their walls themselves and their private estates, right?
Exactly. I mean, look at people like Nancy Pelosi. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Laura Loomer thing where she, I think it was last year, she brought illegal immigrants literally to Nancy Pelosi's house, you know, since they're saying they want sanctuary cities everywhere. Well, here's some illegal immigrants on your front doorstep. And, of course, you know, the mainstream media doesn't pick it up, and Nancy, you know, gets to ignore it and pretend like it never happens. But these people are pure hypocrites. And it's not even necessarily left versus right, because a lot of people on the right are pro-open borders. I mean, you saw the whole Groyper thing. They had to, you know, come full force against TPUSA because Charlie Kirk was saying they're going to staple green cards to the chest of every college graduate from Mumbai. It's like, what?
So you also see it as the globalists versus the rest of us. I mean, because on the right and the left, there's people that want the open borders for the cheap labor or the votes, the illegal votes, right? And then there's other one, you know, the patriots of us that say, wait a minute, we have to protect the citizens of this country, or else what's it even mean to be a country, right?
Exactly. And they're trying to erode that because once they erode the country, they can erode the Constitution. They can repeal the first. They can repeal the second. I mean, look what's happening in Virginia. The truth is so bad that people just refuse to believe it. So even though they're in our faces saying that they're doing all these terrible things, the average person just basically refuses to believe it. They just ignore everything that's going on because the reality is too bad.
Is it because it's just like an overwhelming amount of knowledge and information, and people are just trying to get by and they don't know what to make sense of anymore? All they know is either Trump bad. But then on the other side, on the Patriot side, I do feel there's a little bit more of a quest to get information, even though people are so busy. We want to learn what's happening. The other side is just Trump bad, Trump bad. They don't care. That's all they say. That's their mantra, right?
Exactly. And it's crazy what you said about the information thing. It's so true. I think there was a certain point, and I don't know how old you are. I'm 25. I kind of remember when the internet was first coming on the scene, and it was so trustworthy that even our people and our teachers were telling us that, Wikipedia was a reliable source. This was back when, information was taken more seriously. But there's such an overwhelming onslaught of fake information that, we have access to so much, but like 99% of it is bullshit.
Why don't this is what drives me crazy, that with all this access to factual information, or at least opinionated information, if it's not factual, at least you can get lots of different ideas on what's happened and come to your own conclusions. Why aren't people utilizing those sources? Why are people so okay with just taking everything on face value?
Well, there's a limit to human intelligence, and there's a limit to hours in the day. So when you have people working 24 hours a day to spread disinformation, and you have working class people who maybe have a few hours to catch their breath every day, they don't even have the time to see what's going on. It's all these esoteric people on the fringes of society who are able to really research these things, and they call us wackos and weirdos, but we're actually way more dialed in than the normal person because, a lot of times, like I was unemployed for a while. I just recently got a job, but I was unemployed for a while, so I was able to research all the time and really figure stuff out because I was a liberal for like 23 years of my life. I've only been more conservative and libertarian for like 2 years, so I had to do a ton of catching up. And it takes a long time to kind of deprogram all these lies. The average person who believes CNN today, they're at least 2 years, best case scenario, from leaving that mindset behind, because it takes a long time to turn around all that negative propaganda.
What do you think's going on at CNN with the whole Sanders and Warren thing immediately taking Warren's position? And
yeah,
it seems like, are they working for the DNC? Is CNN working for the DNC? Are they infiltrated by people from the deep state? Are there CIA people still on the payroll? On the bottom ticker, it always says, NSA analyst, former NSA analyst. Does a part of you think maybe they're still on the NSA payroll?
Well, I think it's confirmed already that DNC staffers and CNN anchors and reporters are constantly switching sides from being in front of the camera to being like in DNC leadership. Right. And as far as the CIA assets and NSA assets, I've been hearing a lot of buzz thinking that Buttigieg could be a CIA asset. He's like a Norwegian-speaking, piano-playing, college-educated guy. He's basically like the poster boy for CIA asset. So
he
there's
speaks
definitely
Norwegian?
a ton of these people.
That's crazy.
Yes, he speaks Norwegian. It's so random. It makes no sense.
All right. To each their own. That's not necessarily means he's a criminal, but it's just weird.
Right. Well, he's being put up in front of millions of people, and he's only ever won 8,000 votes in any election in his entire life. He's the mayor of a tiny town. So why is he on the national stage? Many people think CIA asset, and the same thing for Obama. Honestly, a lot of people think he got recruited from Harvard, which to me makes perfect sense.
But Buttigieg looks like a robot. At least Obama had a heart. Buttigieg looks like a completely cyborg Tin Man. There's nothing there.
Well, and I've noticed a lot of when you watch movies and TV, the FBI agents and the CIA agents are so smooth. But when I see videos of people being confronted by certain agents and then talking to these people, some of these people are some of the most untalented, just schwarmy, swamp, like blank faces, nothing to them. These people have been working for the government their whole lives. I swear Hollywood makes these people seem way, way, way cooler than they are.
True. Very, very true. Well, thank you for calling into the Dan Kingston podcast.
Appreciate it, man. You take care.
Look, have you heard about Clearview AI? That's Clearview Artificial Intelligence. It's a new company. Last year, signed up over 600 law enforcement agencies and started using Clearview. And it uses image recognition software, facial recognition software, scraped from Facebook, YouTube, Venmo, millions of other websites. If you've ever uploaded a picture of yourself into the internet, chances are Clearview AI has that in their database, and it's now available for use, again, by over 600 law enforcement agencies. You say, big deal, but I'm a law-abiding citizen. What's it matter? Well, imagine a world, which happens to be today, by the way. You're walking down the street and a police officer can actually identify everything about you from just your face. Listen, when you walk down the street, you're not expecting the fact that your face can be completely connected to your identity. That means that anybody in the future might be able to identify everything about you from just your face, okay? Now, traditionally, when you go to your work, when you're in the train, when you're driving in the car, hey, if you're in public and somebody snaps a photo, you don't expect that to be put into some kind of database. You don't expect it to be searchable by a law enforcement agency. Now, what's the big deal? What's the problem? You're a law-abiding citizen. What does it matter? Well, what matters is if it gets into the hands of the wrong person, okay, a bad guy, a non-government agency. You see, Clearview AI is a new company. It's a startup. It was started by a gentleman named Juan Ton That. He's a entrepreneur who developed an iPhone app, I guess, a few years ago that let you put Trump's yellow hair on your face. And it fizzled out. It was not a huge success. But he went from that to developing, I guess, this technology, hiring somebody to look through all the images that are online of faces. We're talking about billions and billions of facial images, exponentially more than the FBI has access to or any police department. And these images are searchable, okay, using an image of your face. So it matches it. It matches it, and it can identify you using that match, okay? And what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is that it's already in use by 600 law enforcement agencies. Clearview has also been licensed to at least a handful of companies for security purposes, private companies. If you go on the website itself, all you need is a government email address and a phone number and some more information, and they'll say they review it before giving you access to their technology. But it does say that a option to using a private email might be coming in the future. That means that Clearview AI might be available to sale for anyone. You or me could license this technology. And in the code has been written augmented reality. And you say, what's augmented reality? Well, that's the ability to put on a pair of glasses, to look at someone's face, and the stuff pops up. The text literally will pop up around them. Like it looks like there'll be text floating above their head. It's built into these glasses you wear. That's called augmented reality, AR. Maybe you heard a lot about VR, virtual reality. Well, AR is the big one. Google glasses, Apple glasses, they're coming soon. And with an app like Clearview, it'll allow you to see all this information about just regular people walking down the street, on the subway. If you played certain video games, you know exactly what this might look like. But the consequences are draconian, fascist. The possibility of a bad government to take control of this country and to use its technology to silence the opposition or to follow and harass people they disagree with. Maybe some of you listening think that's already happening right now, and it very well could be. There's no way to prove that it's not. This has been backed financially by Peter Thiel. He's a venture capitalist maybe you've heard of. He's also behind Facebook. He recently had a falling out with Trump not that recent, but they used to be bros, and there's a little bit of a falling out. Because Peter Thiel is a weird guy, not to be trusted, okay? Now, this technology was only marketed to police departments starting in 2017. You have to understand, Clearview technology is brand new. Maybe you think that this technology has existed for some time. It has not. The ability to find everything about your identity from a single image taken of you is new. And it's going to be utilized in a really horrific way if we're not careful. So, are you concerned about this? I think you should be. It doesn't look like many people are. But I think the biggest risk is if this technology falls into the wrong hands, or if our government falls into the wrong hands. And that is going, in my mind, to cause a lot of problems. It's going to encourage a lot of scrutiny. Honestly, we're going to have to make a stand against invasive technology that seeks to turn us into 1984 or a Brave New World or some other dystopian future that we do not want to be a part of.
Kingston Country. You've been listening to the Dan Kingston Podcast.
Dan Kingston here. Are you fed up with the mainstream media? Do you want to support citizen journalism? The Dan Kingston Podcast is dedicated to asking questions and exploring topics the mainstream media won't touch. If you enjoy this content, would you help me give you even more for less than $1 a month? Yeah, less than $1 a month. You can help me do just that. And it's as easy as using Apple Pay or any credit card. And by the way, I'll be thanking sponsor names, your name, at the beginning of each podcast episode. So would you consider signing up for less than $1 a month? Find the link to become a sponsor in the description of this podcast episode, or visit anchor.fm/Dan Kingston. Thank you in advance for supporting citizen journalism and helping me provide you with even more content. I really appreciate it.